All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of SaberSim's DFS office hours. It is Wednesday, May 3rd of 2023 here. Looks like there is a four-game MLB early slate on DraftKings kicking off in the next 5 minutes here. So good luck to all of you playing that early day slate. And looks like we have an 8-game main slate later in the day here for MLB. We have a 2-game hockey main slate, and then DraftKings is running a 2-game multi-day classic slate for NBA. 1 game today, 1 game tomorrow, and then they are also running their showdowns for each day. So plenty of DFS action coming at you today. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Andrew, one of the coaches over here at SaberSim. It's a show where we go over how to use the SaberSim app, answer any and all DFS related questions. You can post questions live in the YouTube chat or in the office hours channel in our Discord server. If you're not in our Discord, there's a link in the description below to get joined up. Highly recommend it. We have sim alerts, we have injury news. You will be able to post questions ahead of time, ahead of the show, and talk DFS in the channels. So highly recommend it. With that being said, going to get the app pulled up here. We have one question here to get us started today that came in via Discord. I actually wanted to talk about this like pretty in depth here, and maybe even do like some tutorials here related to this. Try and figure some stuff out. So I'll get the question in here, and then let's talk about it a little bit. But if anybody has any additional questions, now is always a great time to get them in, especially with so few questions here in the queue. But question from F Primo said, will SaberSim take into account that Ohtani can be played as a pitcher and hitter in the same lineup today on OwnersBox? Doesn't look like it at the moment. Okay, so really quick, first thing I'm going to do, or I'm actually going to do a couple things here. So I'm going to pull up like my full screen, and then just going to talk about OwnersBox really quickly, since this is an OwnersBox question. If you guys are not familiar with OwnersBox, it is a smaller DFS site. We have partnered with them. We're the first major optimizer to support them. We are running a promo all MLB season. And basically, if you use code SABER or SaberSim to sign up, one, they have a $500 deposit bonus. And then two, if you use that code, we will track your entry fees, and then you can earn free SaberSim credit as you continue to play on the site. When you reach different entry fee thresholds, we will reach out to you, ask you if you want to cash in on that prize or wait till the next prize tier. And then once you do cash in, that starts over. The contests overlay a lot. The contests are a lot softer. A lot of the best players are not playing over on OwnersBox, so I would recommend taking advantage of it. But let's go over to OwnersBox. Let's get back to SaberSim. Let's go over to MLB. And let's go over to OwnersBox. So what they are doing today, they're running a special flagship promotion basically today. And I'll just pull up the flagship so you guys can see this. So if you go over to OwnersBox, this is the lobby. They have this their like flagship contest is this 6K Grand Slam, 2K to first. They're calling it the Shohei Ohtani Special. So basically what they're doing is they're running a promotion where if you roster Ohtani as both a pitcher and as a batter in the same lineup, which they allow you to do, they're the only site that allows you to do that. If you win first with those two players in your lineup, instead of winning 2K to first, you will actually win 4K to first. So they will double the first place prize of 2K if you have both of those players in your winning lineup here. So that's what this question is related to here. If you go over to the SaberSim app and you go to the Angels, you will see that we have Ohtani as a pitcher with a projection, and then we have Ohtani as a hitter with a projection. One technical issue that it looks like F Primo was running into here, which I'm going to talk about, is that the builder is not set up great to what's the word I'm looking for? Handle this, I guess, or manage this particularly well here. So long story short, the builder will not put Ohtani pitcher and Ohtani batter in the same lineup when it builds your lineups. It will put one or the other. But if you were to set a group rule here, if you were to say use at least 2, and I did a group manual rule, and I said Ohtani pitcher, Ohtani batter, and I save that rule, if I try to build lineups, this will fail. It will not work. So just a note for everybody here. I'm going to talk about ways to work around this and ways that you can still get to that roster construction, but just right off the bat, wanted to just kind of show you guys, hey, if you try and do this, it's most likely not going to work here. So as you can see, the lineups percentage is going up. No lineups are building. This is going to come back as a failed lineup, which I already tested. And so now what do we do here? What do we do from here, right? So a couple options that I want to give you guys. So I'm going to remove this rule so we can actually build some lineups. I was building some lineups here earlier, testing this. So I'm just going to go into this build that I ran like an hour ago. Should be completely fine. What you can do, and what I already did, is that if you want to manually do this, what you can use is the edit lineups feature here. So what you do is you just click on this little pencil icon. This allows you to manually adjust any of your lineups here. And what I can do is I could just X some of these guys out here. And then I am going to search for Ohtani. And it looks like he's not an outfielder, maybe an infielder. Ohtani. There we go. So he comes up as an infielder here, or you can put him in the super flex for his hitter position. And then I'm going to include him in the lineup. And then I'm going to go back to my outfielders here. Just put in some low-cost guys for this example to make sure I have enough salary. And next position is the pitchers. You'll see that like if you're on outfielders, it'll be grayed out because you have used up all of your outfield spots. So it's 4 outfielders, 4 infielders, 3 outfielders, a pitcher, and a super flex. So you need to move the position column as you go. And then I can put Ohtani as a pitcher. And then with my remaining salary, I can move over to super flex and then put in another player that meets that salary range. So maybe it's like JP Sears. And then boom, now I have Ohtani infielder. I have Ohtani pitcher. If I hit save, it is going to update this lineup. And then the other thing that it's going to do is it is going to activate this lock icon. So if I were to make other adjustments and lineups needed to be shifted around, this lineup will never be touched. This lineup will always be part of my set of 20, and it will never go away once this lock icon is activated. So I did this earlier. I had this lineup with double Ohtani here, and then I have this other lineup that we just did together here that has double Ohtani. So that's one way to do it. It would be annoying to, have to edit so many lineups if you wanted to do this for like a percentage of your pool or something like that. I understand. So the other way that we were talking about doing this internally, which I haven't tried this, I'm going to try this live for you guys, is to basically do something where you say to use a player 100% of the time, and then we're going to do a quick swap. So we can do this 2 ways. So option number 1, OwnersBox lists all the pitchers here, even if they are not playing. They're still like available to be put in your lineups. So what you could do is do something where you say use a different pitcher in 100% of your lineups. So maybe I want to say, maybe I want to give Garrett Cole a projection here, and I'm going to give him a projection of like 50, just to help him get into a lot of lineups. And then I could even say min exposure 100 to Garrett Cole. And then what I could also do is go over to my batters now, and then go to the Angels. And then I'm doing this very like blunt force here, and then say use 100% of Ohtani hitter. Because I know it will not put Ohtani pitcher and Ohtani hitter, I'm saying to put at least one of them in this lineup. Or what I could also say, if I have trouble with this blunt force method, is I could do something a little different. But let's try this way first and see if we run into any issues. Where did Garrett Cole go? Oh, it's because I'm filtered for Angels. Okay, so I'm saying 100% Garrett Cole, 100% Ohtani hitter. Let's see if we could generate lineups with this. I hadn't tried this yet, so I hope this all works out very well here. If not, I have one other option to see if we can make this work. But lineups are building, so that's great here. All right, lineups are finishing. Let's see if this finishes the way we wanted it to. And it looks like we have 100% Garrett Cole and 100% Shohei Ohtani. This is great. So then what I'm going to do is I have this entries file that I was using earlier to practice here. I'm going to fill those entries. I'm going to download them. And then now what I'm going to do is go to the home screen. And then I'm going to go to the quick swap button. And then I'm going to swap a specific player. So then what I'm going to say is swap Garrett Cole with, and then I'm going to go down to Ohtani here. And then I'm going to make sure it's Ohtani pitcher. And then I'm going to hit apply. This does not abide by the rules that the builder does. This is just a straight quick swap. So because Garrett Cole was 11,700 salary and Ohtani is 11,600, he should be able to fit into any lineup that Cole was in. Looks like the quick swap worked. We switched all of our Cole lineups for Ohtani. We hit apply, that worked. I'm going to hit download. And then now when I upload this to OwnersBox here, let's make sure that it goes through. And boom, the lineup's uploaded successfully here. So then if I just click into my contest, and I have Ohtani as a hitter and I have Ohtani as a pitcher. And then now this lineup is good, right? So that is probably the quicker way to do this is, if you were to use this player, even, say you had 25% Garrett Cole, then now you would know that you had 25% Ohtani as a pitcher. Another way you could do it, one other way that I think is probably useful, is to set a group rule and then do an if-then rule. So then I would say if at least one, and then I would say Garrett Cole, then use Shohei Ohtani as a hitter here. And then this way you're making sure that all of your Cole lineups have Ohtani as a hitter. And then when you do your quick swap, then you'll know that they're being used at the same time. So if Cole, then Ohtani, and then you go in quick swap, and then you quick swap all of your Coles for Ohtani pitcher, and then boom, you have double Ohtani stacks. So that was another really good workaround. That one came from Scott. So thank you, Scott. I will let Scott know that that did indeed work correctly. So then now, we still don't have any questions here. So I kind of wanted to talk about this second part here anyways. So now the question is, should you do this, right? We talk about, game theory, and we talk about strategies and how to approach these things, right? OwnersBox is pushing this. I've got mobile push notifications. I've got emails. When you log into the app, you're going to see this Shohei Ohtani special with like a pop-up. They are really pushing this, right? So the question is, should you roster him at all, or should you roster him some of the time, or should you roster him none of the time, right? So what is your best option here? Benihana said, hope all is well. Hey, Benihana, hope you're doing good too. So intuitively, I think that a lot of people might say like, okay, well, if OwnersBox is pushing Shohei Ohtani special day, that means that he's going to be really high owned, and I could probably get leverage by not playing him. And I think in general that thinking is correct. I think where that thinking gets thrown for a loop here is by them doubling the prize payout to first if you win. So if you win, you get 2,000 without double Ohtani. If you win with double Ohtani, you get 4,000. So to me, and I kind of ran this by some members of the team. I think that the optimal strategy for the contest would be for every player to play double Ohtani, and then basically as like a contest group, everybody you're basically guaranteeing a 4K to first payout. So there's no other way to just auto guarantee that. And then secondly, it wouldn't matter if Ohtani, gets pulled early, has a bad game, because 100% of people are rostering him, right? There's no leverage. Everybody has this player, and all everybody has done is just double the payout to first, right? So in theory here, I think the optimal strategy would be for everybody to roster Ohtani at 100%, double roster him, and then just play a 7-person lineup, which is what remains, right? So if you go and look at like an OwnersBox lineup, we said there's 4 infielders, 3 outfielders, a pitcher, and a super flex, so 9 spots total. So you would basically be just trying to build a 7-person lineup. But the problem is that this assumes that all players in the game are playing optimally or know what the optimal strategy is. So this is where it gets really tricky, right? And the reason I say that is if you guys are ever interested in learning about game theory, there's this really good YouTube channel called Game Theory Online. Have a lot of subscribers. They it's like an online class it's like 9 years old, but it's still a really good, really relevant class. So I think this is a really good example of what we are trying to what problem we're trying to solve here. So basically, this is called the Keen's Beauty Contest game, and the game is there are say there's 100 people, and everybody has to pick an integer between 1 and 100, and then the player who names the integer closest to 2/3 of the average integer wins a prize, and the other players get nothing. So how do you solve this game, right? So I just like pulled this up on a Paint doc here, and so every player has to pick a number from 1 to 100, and then the second part says the player who names the integer closest to 2/3 of the average integer wins a prize here. So so all 100 players are going to pick a number. Whoever can pick the number that is 2/3 of the mean that everybody chose wins the game. That is how you win, right? So how do you solve this game? They lay it out here on about like the 3-minute mark, but I'll basically walk you guys through this a little bit here. So the player's optimal strategy is to stay the closest integer to 2/3 x. So x has to be less than 100. So the optimal strategy of any player has to be no more than 67. So that's pretty easy, right? So if it has to be 2/3 x, you just take 2/3 of 100, and then that'll be like right about here at the 67 mark. You should never pick an integer above 67, because if 100% of people picked 100, then it would be 67, and that's like literally the highest 2/3 value you could have here. But that's probably not what people are going to do, right? So then the way you solve this is that if x is no more than 67, then the optimal strategy of any player has to be no more than 2/3 67. But so then what you do is you're like, okay, 2/3 67, whatever that comes out to here. And then, but basically you just continue to do this iteration. Okay, 67, 44, like 44, 45 here, right? But basically, you get into this loop where you go, okay, if I know that the right answer is 2/3 of x, then my opponents know that the right answer is 2/3 of x. So then you just get in this loop. So like, let's say that okay, I think that the average number that people are going to pick is 50 here, right? 50 is the average of 1 in 100. But if I know that they're going to pick 50, then I'm going to do 2/3 of 50. And then 2/3 times 50 is 33. So then I'm going to pick 33 because I'm smart, right? But let's say that other people know this too. So then they're going to pick 33, right? And then you just basically get in this loop where you just go smaller and smaller and smaller until the Nash equilibrium answer here is 1. So basically, the way that if all players were playing optimally, every player would pick the number 1, and then you would all split the payout because that is the smallest number that you could choose. When you keep doing this 2/3 X, 2/3 X, 2/3 X, you basically end up at 1, and then that is the correct answer here. But the big assumption is that everybody needs to know that this is the optimal play, right? But what happens if players in the game do not know that? What ends up happening here, right? So they did a case study. They had students take this play this game, and then they logged all of the results, and then this is what the results for 10,000 players ended up being. So the most common number that people picked was 50. These people probably didn't understand the game fully. They just probably picked the middle number here, and then the mean here was 34. So then there was a portion of people, and the median was 33. So there was a portion of people who were like, hey, if everybody's picking 50, which is the average here, I'm going to do 2/3 of that, and I'm going to pick 34. And then there were a certain number of people. You could see that 1,400 people picked the number 1, where they solved it. Like they understood the game, but that's only 14% of the entire contest pool here understood that 1 was the Nash equilibrium optimal answer here. And what the winning number ended up being was 23. So the winning number was basically a group of people who took 2/3 of 33. So there was a large population that said, okay, I'm going to do 2/3 of 50. And then the winning population said, okay, I'm going to do 2/3 of that number. And then that was the number that ended up winning. So even though it's not the optimal answer, it's the winning answer because not all of the field in this game understood how to play optimally, right? So this is what I'm getting at is like, okay, even though I believe that if everybody were to play Ohtani pitcher and Ohtani batter in 100% of lineups to guarantee a 4K to first prize, although that is optimal, I do not think that everybody in this contest is going to know that that is the right answer. So I do not think that that is the best way for me to play. I think the right answer is going to lie somewhere in the middle, where I'm not sure where it's going to lie, but I'm sure that it's not going to be optimal because I don't think the users in my contest are going to play optimal. So this is game theory. This is, thinking about game theory. This is all free. These are all free videos. I would recommend checking them out if you're interested in learning more about this stuff. But just a really interesting dilemma if you're playing over on OwnersBox today is going to be a fun puzzle to solve here. So I'm really looking forward to the contest and figuring out how I want to tackle it. But going to jump back to the app here, and looks like we have one question here from Chuck. If anybody has any questions, now is a great time to get them in. We might call it after this one. Okay, so Chuck said, I've been experimenting for a while using various numbers of mini uniques. Out of all the mini unique amounts, I've noticed that my lineups perform the best when the players used closely matches the number of lineups I'm entering. For example, if I'm entering 150 lineups, then I will increase mini uniques until I have 150 players used if it's possible. Have you noticed this? I also think if you have too many players, it reduces profitability. Okay, so what Chuck is saying is I just want to run. I'm going to run a 5K build so we can exemplify this. Chuck, I also think that this is going to be part of it. Like I see that you're a pro user here. Some users are on the standard plan. Some users are on the old advanced plan, where they can all build a different range of lineups here. So I do think that the number of lineups that you build or are able to build is going to be part of this answer. So I'm going to answer this question specifically for Chuck on the pro plan, but I don't want anybody to like miss that nuance here. And you know that line of thinking does not scale appropriately, in my opinion, here, because if you have 150 players in your player pool, and you're building 150 line, well, actually, I'm not sure, but we'll see. I just think that this gives you more optionality. Basically, is my point here. I don't think you can get to as high of a min unique number with a smaller pool. Is ultimately what I'm trying to say. So we're gonna let these lineups load. Oh man, I still have Ohtani and Cole 100%. Let me just come and do a hard reset on the home screen. I'm gonna hit this red button. This will reset all your settings and reduce everything, or reset everything back to defaults here. So it'll turn off all your min exposures. It'll turn off all of your rules. It'll turn off all of your filters. It will reset any custom projections that you have in the My Proj column. So I'm a big proponent that if you're on the pro plan and you're uploading different sets of custom data, custom projections to save them so they are stored in the projection drop-down screen, and then they will never go away from that screen, even if you hit the red button. But the red button will reset any manual up or down tweaks that you make that are not saved. So just a little note for you there. But anyways, rerunning this 5K build here. Lineups are finishing now, and we will start talking about this. So player pool for baseball isn't something that I particularly look at or have a certain number that I am trying to achieve, but that doesn't mean that it's not there and there isn't, something to be learned from it. So happy to, deliberately talk about this and look at it. So let's say I'm playing 150 lineups. Automatically my pool is going to be 84 lineups here. And then as I increase my min uniques, this number is going to go up. And so at 5 min uniques, I'm at lineup 3,000 out of 5,000. Let's see if I can get to 6. So I can't get to 6 here. I run out of enough lineups. It looks like at 6 min uniques, I get to 150 players in my player pool, but I don't even have enough available lineups. I only have 118 available lineups. So in this example, 5 is the most that you can go. I'm totally okay playing 5 here. And when I'm trying to figure out what min uniques I want to use, I'm mostly looking at my exposures. So something I like to do is come in and look at my batter exposures. How high exposed am I to all of my batters? How high am I exposed to pitchers? On OwnersBox specifically, I would recommend looking at pitcher exposure via the All tab. And the easiest way to do it is to just sort by projection. Pitchers are always going to be the highest projected players here. And then you can see your exposure to pitchers from this screen here. And then I could see how exposed I am to all of my pitchers. And then I could see what my stack exposures are. And I'm mostly looking for a balance of, hey, am I comfortable with all of the stack exposures, pitcher exposures, batter exposures that I am seeing? And then how far down in my pool am I? So I value the SaberScore metric. If you're using SaberScore or a different metric or a custom metric, I think that, those sorting metrics add value. That is the point of them. So it really matters to me how far down in my pool I am going. I would hate to get down to the bottom and be looking at lineup 5,000, 4,999, 4,998. That would be a direct effect of me adjusting the min unique. So then at that point, I would probably bump it down. But I would say that, having a bigger player pool just means that you're going to be more spread out. It's going to give you a lot more shots on goal, right? A lot of your lineups are not going to be centered around one team or one game or something like that, right? In this example, our highest exposed pitcher is less than 45%. Our highest exposed batter is less than 23%, right? And then you're also getting exposure to there are 8 games, so there's 16 teams. You're getting exposure to 15 out of the 16 teams in this example. Let's bump this down to 3, and then let's see what happens here. So now we lose exposure to 3 more teams. So then now we're only getting exposure to 12 out of 16 teams. Our highest batter exposure goes up to 34%. Our highest pitcher exposure goes up to 63%. And then our players in our player pool are 93 as opposed to the 123 that we previously had. So you lose 30 players in your player pool. This is really just like a personal decision. Do you want to be super spread out, or do you want to be more concentrated, right? Being more spread out means that, if like a non-chalk team goes off, you're probably going to have some shares of them and give you a shot on goal there. Or do you want to be more concentrated, play more what you determine are the best plays, and then try to have different combinations of those plays? And because, there's 9 hitters in a lineup, you're probably only stacking so many of them, like 4 to 6, maybe 4 to 7 if you're on OwnersBox. And you're trying to find the best combination of those players with a complementary stack with the right pitchers, right? So you could be right about a team, but then have some of the wrong supporting secondary pieces. So then having more shares of that team gives you more optionality as to finding that better secondary stack, that those pitchers that complement that stack, etc. Right? So there's not really a wrong or right way to go about this. If that method or that methodology is serving your interest for DFS appropriately, Chuck, I would continue to exercise that strategy. And sounds like you've had some success with it. So I hope you have continued success with that strategy. But looks like Chuck is typing here. I will let Chuck get his final thoughts in here. But I think that's probably where I fall on that idea. Chuck said, thanks. That was very helpful. Happy to help out and give you guys my best thoughts here. But no more questions. We're all caught up in the Discord, in the YouTube chat via support. So appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll be right back here tomorrow for our Thursday show. If anybody has any questions, building lineups throughout the day, drop them in the Office Hours channel. Let them sit there, and we will answer those on the next show. So until tomorrow, take care, good luck, and I will see you all. Bye.